And the intersection of all of those things is the perfect mead. But for from a business, you're a marketer like I am, so that's the definition of it. What they like, what you like, and what makes money. This is all. It's a good thing. But
yep.
Yeah, when you're doing the home thing, I've got pepperhead friends. Kyle Barley comes to mind. He's on the Mazer Cup staff, and Kyle is a huge pepperhead. He makes some amazing pepper meads, but they're like way beyond my capability to handle, like miles. Right. Like I'm not even in the same county with these meads in terms of my ability to drink them because I don't do heavy peppers. I can't,
Yeah. There's always somebody who wants the delirium tremens of heat.
Delirium tremens. That's pretty good. I like that.
I actually did have one friend when we went out for wings. He actually gave his keys to my husband because he couldn't drive home because he was on a pepper high.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't get high from it. I just get tears and red face and wishing I could just like...
No, he actually got the endorphin trigger from that one.
Stop. I don't.
Man, I've been eating my peppers all wrong then. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens that often, especially when you're a pepperhead like he is, but it did that time, and he complimented the chef on it.
Interesting. I wonder if it's like running, where you just have to push through the pain to the point where you just get a euphoria, because if you didn't, you'd probably fall down and die.
I don't know.
I wouldn't know. I've got a shirt that says I tried running. But I keep spilling my wine. So. That's my favorite shirt. It's really interesting, though. So are you finding as you kind of move from home mead maker mindset to professional mead maker mindset that you have to like really rein in your creativity to like find that quitting point where it's like, fine, we gotta bottle this?
Yeah, I actually don't. I don't tweak I don't do too many crazy things to the mead, to my meads. Once they're, they've had something added in secondary, and it's the right balance between maybe 2 or 3 ingredients. But yeah, I think the lesson I'm learning is where my palate is limited, and my wife's, and the broad spectrum of palates out there that you just have to consider when you're making something commercially. So I'm making working with hopped meads right now and experimenting with different hops, different levels, and all that. And it's just interesting what people expect when they think of a hopped mead. And I can give, and this is, part of my homebrew club. These are quaff guys, so these guys they know what they're doing.
Yeah, those guys
drinking.
are quaff guys. Yeah, they clean up at the home competitions.
Yeah. So they know their hops, and I'll give them the same mead, and one guy will say, "This is great, but it's just a hop bomb," and the next guy will say, "Like, I get no hops." So it's just kind of finding out, okay, well, what do most people think, and let's just find that balance to get it. So I still need to love it and be proud of it, and I've learned that from brewers here. That's something that a lot of San Diego brewers have really lived, is they have to love what they're drinking first. That's kind of how Stone got started. They made what they wanted to drink, and screw everyone else. And it turned out that it was actually a big community that wanted that. So you do have to follow that.
Look at the marketing aspect of it. They're doing soup Nazi beer. No soup for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a way, it's like, we're going to make what we like. You don't like it, don't buy it. Feel like, wait, is it good? Because if it's good, I want some.
Oh yeah. Their marketing. From the beginning, it was like, you're probably not sophisticated enough to enjoy this beer.
Yeah, you would never understand.
Yeah, you would never understand. Yeah.
Yeah, so. Guys, you may have to pull us back on track because we got 2 marketers here. This could get out of control. Billy and I, when we're on phone calls, just a one-on-one. Yeah, well, yeah, okay, Manny too. When Billy and I get on the phone, it's what, hour and a half, Billy.
Yeah,
because that's what I want. That's what I want in my beer soup.
Well, it'd be, they're the mead Nazis, so it'd be like, no mead for you, get out.
No mead for you.
No mead for you.
Oh boy.
If that turns up at Lost Cause later, I'll know why. Just put a link to the website somewhere.
Okay. To get back on track, have you already started making the big batches? And have you what were the challenges that you found when you moved up from the 5 to 10 gallon batches into the 80, the big batches, the over 80 gallon batches? Have you done that yet or not yet?
No, and that terrifies me. I'm going into this really confident on the business side, even though I know there'll be tons of things I mess up and learn along the way. I had no idea coming, but at least having been working in business for the last 10, 12 years, doing marketing and all that, I'm comfortable there. But the scaling up and actually going from 5 gallons to 30 barrels, which is what we're going to be doing, totally terrifies me. I have no idea what to do. I've seen people do it. I know I'll figure it out because everyone does. But yeah, that's the one part that's like, man, that'll be interesting to see how much I can mess up before I get it right.
Okay, all right. And I also see that you're a liquid yeast fan, and I guess it's time to ask that question I always ask.
If we don't ask it, they wonder what happened to Manny.
Have you tried blending these liquid yeasts in one batch to see if you can come up with different flavor profiles?
I've only done it once, and it was early on, and I don't think I knew enough about the individual yeast to really say if it did much or made it better. And I haven't done it since then, so I wouldn't be the guy to talk to about that. I kind of found a house yeast that I really like and didn't want to mess with it, and started tweaking everything else. So I know that there's a lot of home brewers and co-ops that I talk to that do that, and actually saw a presentation by Kara Taylor from White Labs, who's they're also local. That's the yeast I use, and she did a presentation on blending, and it was all about timing. So if you want the flavor profile of one yeast, but the kind of more subtle notes of the other one, but the performance of the second one, she recommended adding at day 3. It was either day 3 or after 3 days, day 4. But so you let the first yeast get the flavor profiles going, and then the second one comes in and rounds it out. You still get really unique aroma and flavor, with one being dominant, and so I just haven't experimented with it yet, but I know it's relatively common in the beer world down here.
Yeah, and the cider people do it as well, which is what gave me the idea to try it with mead. Although I keep asking, but hopefully somebody. There's so far only one person has been actively doing it, and but I think it's the next big thing in mead. All right.
Do you have like certain yeasts you're thinking would complement each other, or just blend into just makes it more unique?
I'm a big fan of also like you of ale yeasts, although I tend to use Y yeasts more. And there's what I'm trying to do is see if I can get the 3 or 4 different strains of the Belgians, and see if they'll kind of work well together. I'm curious to see how how that would happen. So that's my plan anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to hear how that goes. I think there'd be some interesting experiments going Belgian and like English ale or something too. Maybe starting with an English ale and finishing out with like a there's a French Saison yeast that White Labs makes that I think is fantastic. I would love to see what that's like blended with something with a totally different profile.
Right,
So,
right.
Someday.
Yeah, kind of like the mango pine type of situation. See, which the two things that shouldn't go together that actually are great together.
Right. Yeah. The good thing is White Labs will be probably 3-4 blocks away from our Meadery Lost Cause when we open up.
Wow.
So, yeah, we'll be able to walk down the street and play with them and experiment a lot. I know they've been really interested in getting more into mead. They've been working with Golden Coast, and they have someone there that's starting to really focus on it. So which is awesome. I mean, we need more of that, especially at that level. So that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool. See? Good yeast conversation.
What I want to know is if you're using liquid yeast, how do you plan on scaling that up?
That's part of the scale up part that I don't know. I mean, I use a starter now, and I would just make a larger starter. And White Labs sells the yeast in bulk packs for certain size starters based on if you're doing a 15 barrel or a 30 barrel tank. It's not cheap, which is one of the drawbacks of using liquid yeast, especially at that level. But to me, I just can't get the same mead with dry yeast that I can with liquid yeast. So now, how that works, I don't know. I just got to sit down with one of the brewers here, local brewery, because they do it every day. The one thing I know I won't be able to do that breweries do a lot of is, save their yeast and, reuse them batch to batch. I don't think I can do that because when you're putting yeast through the kind of conditions that, mead requires, 12% out, get it to 12% alcohol, supplementing with nutrients. I mean, they're pretty worked through by the end, and I don't know if other meaderies are reusing their yeast. I'd actually be really curious, but it seems to me like they wouldn't be healthy enough to make it worth it, to keep the same strain or same batch of yeast going for 3 or 4 batches.
I don't know about 3 or 4 batches, but a lot of home brewers reuse their yeast in their meads, right? I mean, I've heard about a lot of that. I've never done it because I don't do beer.
Well, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make. I'll usually get 3 batches out of a single batch. I go off the lees and then throw a bunch of must right on top of the old lees, and it keeps right on going. It works.
So why do you only get 3? What's stopping you?
I noticed. Well, it was only one time because it's expensive. But after when I tried to do it a 4th time, Again, it could have been anything, but there were a lot of off flavors in that 4th batch. So I said, you know what? Maybe 3 is the limit.
Okay, so it's not the original yeast anymore. It's sort of morphed into a localized version of it because it's
who knows? Because I'm not doing
generations.
it. Yeah, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it the right way, like a beer brewer would, where you wash the yeast and you do all that. I was basically just going off the lees and boom, right, throwing another batch right in there and then aerating it as it went in. Yeah, and it was, but it worked. It worked for 3 consecutive batches and saved